to another episode of Making Mindset Matter with me, your host, Lorna McKenna. If you haven't already done so, please do click the subscribe or follow button so you can be notified when a new episode comes out each week. But with that being said, I am going to get into today's topic of discussing and asking, do you know who you really are? And for some people, they may have never heard this question or have had anybody ask this question. But the theme of today's episode is going to be around, do you know who you truly are as an authentic being? And the episode today is going to cover about what is authenticity, why it's important, some of the mindsets that block it and how to take action, and just some journal prompts to discover who you are. Because if I just take it back a couple of years, this is sort of what embarked me on my mindset journey to really discovering who I was as a person. Because for so long I was this version of me that I truly thought was me, but in reality I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I stood for. I didn't know what my values were. I didn't know what I even enjoyed. I got to this point where I just didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know anything, and I was just felt lost, and I just knew there must have been something more out there for me to discover about who I truly was. Because actually the reality of a mindset journey, of any growth journey, isn't really about becoming anyone new. It's about unbecoming everything that you think that you are to become who you truly are as a person. So it's about peeling back all of them layers of all these different hats that we put on when we're growing up. So when we're growing up, like the way that our experiences have shaped us, our parents, school, work, all these different versions of us and these life experiences that we have shape who we are, and actually they can help influence. But actually when we dig deep and do that inner work and ask ourselves these questions about who am I really, what do I stand for, what do I enjoy, what actually brings me fulfillment, we realise actually we have to peel back all these layers of what we thought made us happy, who we thought we were, all these traits that we've learned, and then have to unlearn and relearn to become who we actually truly want to be. And this has been a huge part of my journey, and the more work I've done on myself, the more I have realised actually how important being my authentic self is. And for me, actually authenticity and being able to show up as the true version of me, as the version of me that it doesn't matter where you meet me, you will come across the same version of me, the fully authentic me, has been something that has been the biggest turning point for me. And to accept myself as who I truly am and embrace it and wholehearted be like, this is me, this is who I stand, what I stand for, these are my values, and accept them so that I can grow and move forward and bring that authenticity into everything I do. I bring it into this podcast, hence why I don't edit the episodes. I just do it on the first record, because that is authentic me, is just, this is who I am. Doesn't matter if there's mistakes, I embrace all of me. And I have been reading a lot of books recently, and I'm currently reading David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, and the first line of the book is, do you know who you truly are and what you're truly capable of? And he goes on to say about denial being the ultimate comfort zone, because a lot of us don't actually know who we truly are. And I just want to say that for so long, I didn't know who I truly was. It's taken me a lot of work. Do I fully know who I truly am? I have a very good understanding, but there is definitely still more to uncover. But that is the beauty even of the growth journey. It's about you discovering more about yourself every day as you tap into this highest version of you, the true version of you that you truly want to be. And another book that I've also been reading, which I cannot recommend enough, is Brianna Wiest's 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. And she talks in there's a lot of essays about knowing who you are as a person. So if you are looking for something to read, I would highly recommend both of these books. But anyway, I'm just going to tap into a bit about what is authenticity for people that may not know. So to put it in simple terms, authenticity means that you're true to your own personality, values, spirits, and regardless of any external pressure, that you act under, you just stay the same, because you're completely honest and comfortable with yourself. So when you're around others, it makes no difference. You just fully show up as who you are, and you take responsibilities for your own mistakes, your actions, and you completely own it, because a part of being authentic is about being true to who you are, and that's about making sure that actually you don't let them outside influences change it, that you know what you stand for and you can embrace it, even if you know it may go against the grain, that you are wholeheartedly you and your values align with that. So yeah. And just to go into a bit why being authentic is possibly quite important, is studies have actually shown that feelings of authenticity go hand in hand with numerous psychological and social benefits, including higher self-esteem and greater well-being, because when you know who you are and what actually fulfills you and that kind of things, you do more of the stuff that you actually enjoy. And that is something that I have realised massively, and it's been a massive learning curve, and it still is that it's okay that if things that may not make other people happy make you happy, because if it makes you happy, it does not have to make sense to other people, and always remember that. So I'm now just going to talk about some of the mindsets, a couple of the mindsets that can sometimes block people actually stepping into their authentic self, and ways that you can actually take action steps to get through them. And these two that I'm going to talk about, which are people pleasing and comparison, are two of the mindset blocks I have had to overcome massively on my growth journey, as I've been on this self-discovery of discovering who I truly am. So when you're in this mindset of people pleasing, you do have this constant need that you feel like you need to please other people before yourself, and often it can lead to you wanting to be accepted by and liked by other people. So when you can find yourself in situations you may not speak up or voice your true opinion out of fear of not being liked or not pleasing others. And for me, this is something that I've had to work through, because I used to constantly put other people's needs before mine, thinking that made them happy, and in turn, if they were happy, that I was happy, not realising actually happiness truly comes from within, and actually I should be prioritising my own needs and using my own voice to speak up about things, rather than just sort of letting other people make decisions for me. The risk that you run by having this kind of mindset is you don't take the risks that you want to do because you fear what others will think of you. And this is very true for me, because before I got into personal development, I started an online business, and I was actually put it off for so long because I was so afraid of other people's opinions, who I went to school with 10 years ago, who I don't speak to, which are absolutely irrelevant to my day-to-day living. I used to be so overwhelmed by the thought of other people's opinions that it actually stopped me doing things, until I learned to just go for it anyway. And actually the only opinion that does truly matter is the one that we hold of ourselves. So I just want you to remember that the only opinion that does truly matter is the one that you hold of yourself. Another barrier when you're in this people-pleasing mindset is you don't often speak up about things, whether it be in a work situation or anywhere like that. You don't often commit to your using your voice where you should, because you're scared that people might not like you, or might judge you for your opinion on something, or judge you for your viewpoint. But actually, we're all entitled to our own opinions on stuff, and it's about being able to use your voice and articulate it in situations where you feel necessary to stand up or for something that you truly believe in order to be able to commit and make your voice be heard in certain things. So just some of the actions that you can take to help you get through this is, and these are some of the things that I've been learning on my journey, because I'm definitely someone that was a huge people pleaser, is actually that it is okay to say no to things. It's okay to say no to social commitments, or say no to things that you don't actually want to do, because time is one of our greatest commodities. Once time has gone, it's gone. You cannot get it back. So we need to make sure we're doing stuff that we actually want to do. So if someone asks you to do something and somewhere in your gut you know you want to do it, but you're saying yes, ask yourself, do I actually want to be doing this? Because if you don't want to be doing this, say no. It is okay to say no. It's okay to set that boundary. It can be uncomfortable, and especially when you're not used to saying no to people, it's something that can be very difficult to learn and to accept. But like I said, once the time's gone, you can't get it back, so you need to be doing stuff that you want to do. It is okay to say no, and it is not a reflection on you if someone has a negative response to you saying no. If you know that you don't want to do something, say no and be comfortable within that decision that you've made. The other action that you can take is actually just sometimes just saying how you actually feel. Because often when we feel like we don't want to say stuff because people can judge us, it's knowing that actually like this is how I feel, and just speaking up and standing up for what you truly believe in, or giving your opinion on something actually is really beneficial. And it helps you like feel empowered in your decision. It helps you like really be like, no, this is what I stand for, this is what I truly believe, or this is my opinion on the situation and I'm going to voice it. So that's like the first mindset, is people pleasing. And the second mindset I'm going to talk about is the mindset of comparison. So when we're in this mindset of comparison, you may constantly compare yourself to others. You may find yourself saying things like, she's smarter than me, or they're more creative than me, or they're lucky. But being in this mindset is in a very like lack mindset and looking at the other person. And this is something that I used to find myself, especially with social media. I would look at people and compare myself, thinking like, why want what they've got? Or like I would say things like possibly, or they must have had luck, not realising actually that's a reflection on me, and that's me saying like, I wish I had what they had, but I don't know how they've got it, so instead I'm going to compare myself and beat myself up about it. But when the barrier to that is by when we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, like we're punishing ourselves and we're putting ourselves down. Like when we're being negative, and that's when the negative self-talk comes in, when we're being like really critical of ourselves, like, why have I not achieved that? Why am I not there? But always remember, I always said it, and I did the episode, I think it was episode 7, you are exactly where you need to be right now, not a moment ahead, not a moment behind. So always remember that. And your journey is your journey. So we need to stay focused on the fact that actually our journey is our journey, and that's how it goes. And it's important for us to stay in our own lane, because energy is our greatest currency, the energy that we expend. So if we spend all this time expending energy into comparing ourselves to other people, we're not actually focusing on what we need to do to move forward. And often as well, like when we're in this comparison, we might not take the risks because we've convinced ourselves that other people can do it better. So you watch other people achieve their dreams and you don't achieve yours because you've sat there paralysed by fear. And I always talk about when you feel the fear, just going for it anyway, like I talked about in episode 1. So by taking action, and the cure to fear is action, like that is a fact, the cure to fear is action. And that's something that I've been learning a lot of recently, that any fear that you're feeling, by taking the action, it helps you move forward. But one action step that you can do to sort of move past this comparison is to start keeping a tally of like when you are comparing yourself to other people and making note, because the key to any change is awareness. So awareness is the first step for any change in mindset that you make, or any change to something that you want to improve. And I always like to ask myself, if I find myself comparing, what is it that I'm actually comparing to? Like, what is it I'm looking at in that person, and how can I look inside and find out what it is that truly I want? By what am I comparing to? Like, what actions can I take to move me closer to my goals instead of focusing on what other people are doing? And I just want you just to remember, like, you are unique. That is your superpower. And it's probably, some people might find that's a cliche quote, but it's true. Like, we are all individuals. We are all unique. We need to embrace our individuality. And by embracing our individuality and like stopping the comparison, it does help us step into the most authentic version of us. So they're the two mindsets. So the people-pleasing mindset can block the authenticity, because obviously when we're doing stuff for other people and we're not speaking up about our voice, we're not doing things that we truly want to do, we're not trusting our intuition, we're not listening to the gut feeling inside of us that's telling us. And the way to get through that is to start saying no to things that you don't actually want to do. Ask yourself, is this something I want to do? And if it's not, don't do it. And use your voice and speak up. And with comparison, when we're in this constant state of comparison and we're expending our energy into comparing ourselves to others, then we're wasting energy instead of looking at how we can move forward and take the risks. And we are in this like negative mindset of the negative self-chatter. So we need to start empowering ourselves, use affirmations. I mean, I don't think I've spoken much about affirmations before. Affirmations are just like powerful statements, positive statements that you can reaffirm to retrain your brain around how you think about yourself, and start taking action around the awareness of comparison and look at how you are comparing yourself. So it wouldn't be a Making Mindset Matter episode if I didn't give you some journal prompts to help you really discover who you authentically are, and like start like digging into who you are as a person and what it is you actually want to do, what you want to stand for, and who you actually are like at the core as the most authentic version of you. So journal prompt number 1 is, if no one else was watching and social media did not exist, what would you be doing? Like, if there was nobody else around and you wasn't feeling like you had to live up to anything else, what would you be doing? Question number 2, or journal prompt number 2, is, what would you stand for if no one would judge you? Because often we can feel like we can't use our voice. So this prompt is really helpful for you to really understand, like, what is it you actually care about? What would you stand for if you felt that there was no judgment? And really like dig into like what it is that you actually like as a person stand for. Journal prompt number 3 is, what lights you up? And when I say what lights you up, like what brings you genuine fulfillment? And those 3 journal prompts, so that I'm just going to recap them. I should have said pause, actually. Pause, get your journals out. Every time, I think I've forgotten in the last couple of episodes, but yeah. So the journal prompts were, number 1, if no one else was watching and social media did not exist, what would you do? Or what would you be doing, sorry. Number 2 is, what would you stand for if no one would judge you? And number 3 is, what lights you up? So they're the journal prompts just to get you sort of discovering like who you truly are as a person. But just remember that being authentic means you are being your true person. Like you have your own personality, your values, your spirits, and regardless of the pressure or what you view at, you just show up as the most authentic version of you. You can be who you truly are. And like I said, the growth journey is about unlearning all the things that you thought you were and unbecoming all those things to be who you truly are. And that's when you do the digging deeper and really ask yourself, like, who am I and who am I as a person? So with that being said, I am going to leave it to there for today's episode. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do share it on your social media and tag me on Instagram at Lorna McKenna with an _. I always love to connect with people about the podcast and learn their biggest takeaways. So if you have got any takeaways, please do, and key points or anything that's really, really like resonated with you, please do send me a message, because I love connecting with people and connecting with you listening to the podcast. But that being said, just remember that you are unique. That is your superpower. But here is to making your mindset truly matter.